Hi, afternoon. Someone asked me to add in the names to the color constants. So I'm just going to continue on this project that we did the colors alone from before. If you remember, let me run this. If you remember, it's a .NET project. So you have to use the Godot that has the .NET. Get random color, it changes the color randomly. But we don't know the name of the color, so let's add some code to get the name of the color. Let's close this off. If you remember the script, right? If you remember the script from before, we had a color bridge, and the color bridge only returned colors. In our case, this is what we wrote the code for, just to get all color constants. The result is an array of colors that Godot uses to enumerate all the color constants, and this is about 146 colors. But that's just the color value. What we want to get is the name value as well. We can write a separate function, a separate class, or a separate part of the partial class. Let's just add a new code at the bottom here underneath the public static Godot array collection. It's going to be a similar code. So what I can do is I can just copy this. So we make sure you get all the way down to below the result, the closing bracket of the public static Godot array colors. Copy that, Control C, and below this, just put a couple spaces and Control V to paste it. Now we're just going to change the type and the name of this function. What we are going to do, we're going to create a dictionary function, and in a dictionary function you map some variable, an integer, a string, some sort of type to another type of data. So let's just change this up from array here. We're going to change, let's change the name of the function first. We'll call it get all color constants with names, I guess, to be a little more descriptive. You can name it what you like, and we're going to change this Godot collections array into Godot collections dictionary. So let's do this, dictionary, and that dictionary is going to map, open, call this arrow. We're going to map a string. Remember, string in this language is common s, lowercase s, and we're mapping that string to a color, capital C color, and close off those brackets, those arrow brackets. Most of the function is going to be similar. var results is going to return a new Godot collection dictionary. So let's just copy this here, dictionary of string color, Control C, and just paste it here as well, Control V. If you notice, most of the code is pretty much the same, so substitution makes it really easy. Afterwards, the properties that you're going to get is the type of colors, and get properties, your binding flags is public as well, and static, so that's already in place. So for each variable property, prop in properties, short for properties, for each prop in properties, so we're going to loop through again for all the values of the all 146 values of Godot's color constants, and for each one, the color, we're going to give it a name, color value. Color value is equal to color property get value null null again. So you see everything is pretty much the same. But remember now, the result will be different because we don't have an array anymore. In array you add, this is how you add data into an array, but this is not how you add data into the dictionary. So let's remove this add color value. And its result, what we're going to do is the result with the property name, because the property name is our key. The key is the first part of the dictionary, the string name. will be equal to the color value. So it's a little different. Almost everything was the same, but if you notice where we are adding the result, we don't say add color value. We take the result of that property name, which will be blue or green or whatever it is, and add the color value, which is the actual color value, which is the RGBA value, which we got on top here. This color value here. We're going to return that result. Now all we have to do when we go across, let's save this, Control S, and when we go across the color constant screen, we're just going to change up this code to access all color, get all color constants with names, get all color constants with names here, with names, and that's it, because we already preloaded the color bridge, which is this CS script, C# script, and all we have to do is access the actual function, which is the second function that we made in there, and that makes it easy. Now we just have to change up the code in here to access the actual colors. Okay, let me just comment out these two lines. We'll come back to them later. Control K is a shortcut to add the hashtag in front of the lines. And let me just run this to see if we have any errors, because typing in C# sometimes create a lot of errors. And so said, so done. Let's double click the error down here. A new expression requires an argument. Ah yes, I forgot. Just like at the end here, when we declared var results and the get all color constants at the top function, there was an open and close brackets at the end. I missed the open and close brackets here as well. Let's save that and see if there's any other error. And there is. The property info does not contain a definition for name. We can hover over it and get more information, but I understand why, because the property name is supposed to be a capital N, an uppercase N, not common N. And let's save this and let's try again. If everything is okay, it's going to run without any errors, but nothing's going to happen when we click get random colors, because we commented out the code that activated the colors. Let me close it off and let's go. Okay, so let's move across to the color constant screen and let's start coding. I realized that the new keyword here is not necessary, because this creates an instance of the color bridge as is, so we don't need to use the new keyword. Let's save that. Let's make sure I'm right about that. No errors. Good. Okay, so let's start. Let's just declare a couple of variables. Let's do the variable named colors. This will be our dictionary. So we'll just specify it as a dictionary of type string. Remember, in Godot, string is capital S, and type color. We've been specific so that Godot can autocomplete and let us know if we have any mismatch errors. Okay, our next variable will be our keys, and let's make that keys an array of type string. The reason I do this is not necessary if you're just going to use names, but remember, I want to get random colors, so I'm creating an array of the names, and the array are enumerated. Dictionaries are not enumerated unless you add a number at the front, and the number being your key, and each number has to be unique. For example, if this was dictionary int color, you can do that, but I can't use the rand I function if I don't have a number. I'm actually making an array called keys, which is an array of the strings that are enumerated from 0 to whatever last number it is, which is 146 in this case. So that'll be 0 to 145 because it's always one less. And that will represent, you can use that number now to extract the string name, and with that string name you can extract the color. And that's how I'm using this. Okay, let's do an onReady function because I want to initialize these variables that I just created. So let's do an underscore ready and named colors. Name colors is equal to this color bridge that we have here, and we're going to get all color constants with names. Remember, we're using the dictionary, not the first function that we have in the color bridge, but the second one. The first one is get all color constants, which is an array of colors, but this one is get all color constants with names. If we actually use the other one, we will get errors because there's a mismatch, and that's the importance. You see, you get a red bar. That's the importance of stating what type of variable you have. So if you get any errors, Godot will let you know beforehand. With any errors with mismatching, Godot will let you know beforehand. And let's initialize our keys. And keys is simply just the named colors dot keys. That's the keyword for getting the first value, the first unique value in the dictionary. In our case, it's the string or the name of the color. And open and close brackets. And that's all we need in the ready function. So we've accessed the function that extracts the name and the color values in a dictionary, and we are creating an array of the names in equation here. Okay, before we move on, I just want to add a couple things on the screen. We want to get a name, so let's just put let me minimize this. Let's just add another label. Type a label. There we go. And let's drag it. I don't know why the theme is here. Let's close that off. Let's drag this to the bottom here and just open it out. And this will be where we have the name. So, let's go back to the inspector. So we'll call this a color name. Let's call it color name on the left hand side as well, so it's easy to reference. And let's just press Control D. That creates another one that duplicates it. And let's just call this one color code maybe, so we can actually get the RGB code, RGBA code to be exact. And let's color code one, let's move it down a bit. Where's the move button? It'll be right over the other one. So it'll look exactly the same. And we can change that to color code. Okay, let's just try this out, just see how it works. Let's just save this and run. Control S to save and run, and let's see how it works. Okay, so it works. Everything looks good. Color name and color code. We can change up the size of these just to make it look a little better. I'm going to leave as is because I don't want to make this video too long. Let me just close this off. Let's just wire up the script, the GDScript. Make sure we're in the GDScript here. Good. I just realized we don't need this variable here, var colors, color bridge, because it's already initiated in the ready function. So let's just remove this. And it's complaining we have nothing. And let's remove the hashtag. So we have var random color. In this case, I just want a random index because we want the index to access the keys array. So random index, let's just change that, is equal to, we're not going to use, let's just rewrite this whole thing. Var random index will be equal to rand I percentage sign and the size of the keys array that we created to hold the names. So we're going to use this random index to get the random name and the random colors. Next, let's do var random name. We're going to get the name from this array that we created. Random name will be keys, square brackets, random index that we just got. Next, we want the actual random color, so random color will be equal to, we're going to access the dictionary now, named colors. Remember, the dictionary is the string name and the actual color. Name colors, and get the color at that random name. We're using a random name. Remember how this works. We're going to use the string name to access the color. The string name is supposed to be unique. So what we did here is we took the random index that we created here, using the keys size that we created, 146 elements. This will return from 0 to 145. We're using that to access whatever random index that we're using in the keys array, and then we're using that name in the random colors dictionary, name colors, as the key in the dictionary to extract the associated color with that name. And if we want to test this, we can use a print statement before we do anything else, and let's just print something like a random color colon space random name comma, let's put an equal sign here again, and comma random color, let's see what that gives us. Save this, just run this. It's not going to change on the game screen itself, but every time we click the get random color, it's supposed to show something at the bottom here. Let me move this screen key up, and there we go. The random color is yellow green, and that's the code for it. Deep pink, that's the code for it. Burly wood. So as you can see, the code is working. We just have to wire it up to the screen now. Let me just move this back down and minimize the screen so we can see the 2D screen. Well, at least we can see the names here. And let's go back into the script. In the script, we're just gonna, okay, so the first color rect is the actual color that we were using in the last example. This is just gonna change the color of the rectangle, so let's just save it and watch it work a bit, and then we'll change the names and the color code. Okay, that works. Very nice. And we still got a print statement at the bottom. We'll move that at a later time. Let's drag across the color name, and for this we want the text. We're going to set the text of the color name is equal to the random name And for the color code, we can just type it in. We're going to change the text of that as well to the random color code, but the random color code, it's a color object, so we want to change that object into a type of string, so we're going to cast it to a string and we put random color. And let's save this and watch it run. When we click get random color, maroon, and we get the code for maroon. Blanche almond, got a code, so it works. This works pretty nice, pretty well. And that's it. That's how simple it is to get the random color constants with the names and the codes. So I hope this was informative, and I'll see you in the next one.